So the hard thing for people to understand is really that you got to put them together. But once you put them together, you can see the point on both sides. Trigger the image of a caduceus in your head, if you will, right? Two snakes coming up together up the pole, then they kiss when they get to the top, right? The issue with this is most people, and this is most people, way more people than you think. Even the people you like look up to, because that's the problem again. You looking up to people again. Don't look up to people. Look at people. Um, Most people have a hard time combining both, right? Most people have a hard time combining both pieces of information to get to the whole, right? They'll hear something on one end. In my father's house are many mansions. If it were not this way, I wouldn't tell you it is, or something like that in the book, whatever translation you get. On the other side, though, because King James wrote this book that we quote over here, and then on this side, he also wrote the demonology book. So he wrote one path to God and one path to the devil, and you have to choose which one you want to go to. Now, you, in your pretension and in your pretending, believe yourself to be good. That's basic. This is a simple game, by the way. Everybody pretends themselves to be good. Everybody pretends that they're the good one. Everybody. Even when they're the bad one, they pretend they're the good one. So all the people who are supposed to be the bad ones are actually lying because they don't want to do good. But they've been told that they need to do good instead of doing what they want. So then they run away from the bad. So you over here read the Bible, but you don't read the demonology. But the same author, same author, same author. But over here, because they told you it was good and it was the word of God, you can't leave that trap. So you're stuck. And I like to balance it. I like to stay here because Christianity is an easy one, at least for me, and I think a lot of people. But then you pay taxes. They told you that the taxes were real, unavoidable. You are going to die and you have to pay taxes. Whereas if you operate by the principle of trust, you know your energy is maintained internally and you can never die. Therefore, you never have to pay taxes. And that's in the law. There's trust law and there's tax law. If we're talking about tax, this is how it works. If we're talking about trust, this is how that works. Demonology, Bible. It just depends on which way you look at it. Now, it's important to understand this because you're actually supposed to use both. Yes, in my father's house are many mansions. When we talk about the demons of Solomon, right, we branch out, we go into the books and we branch out because the Bible is a collection of books. So you go into the collection of demonic books that King James writes over here, and it'll lead you to Solomon's demons. But straight up in Solomon's demons, straight up, he tells you that the demons are a metaphor for the different vibrations that you have in the brain. Huh. Wait. Because over here he says, in my father's house are many mansions. Y'all don't get it yet, do you? When he's talking about his father's house, he's talking about the brain. He's talking about the brain, and you guys don't enter the brain. You don't understand what the brain is. You don't understand what the holographic interface of the brain is. You don't understand how to wake up and move while you're in a dream, quote unquote, which means you'd be able to maintain the perception of the holographic interface that exists in every single human being and exists in every single dog, animal, plant, all of it. But you can't maintain it because you want it to be good or you think it's bad. Okay. So it stays busy producing constantly. It's just producing stuff because you constantly polarize yourself. Instead of understanding you're supposed to use both or stay ignorantly bliss. You chose to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So now that you have the knowledge of both, when will you bring them together? If you can't bring them together, you will always, by the way, stay in one pole or the next. But once Earth is the opportunity for you to come to the middle. This is what the whole plane, the whole experience of you waking up and then going back to sleep is for you to understand that you're in the middle. And if you come to that understanding while you're awake, which is really you're dreaming, then when you go back to your other world, which you don't remember, then you have a more balanced experience. The Gospel of Philip tells you to be balanced here. Walk the middle path when you see two, so that when there's only one, you know that you're moving, in so many words. This is the projected path. This is the one that projects itself. It's not the source. It's not the holographic matrix. But I know if I can walk in the center of my experience, I know that I control both the 0 and the 1. That's what it means to be a chosen. Part of the 144. 12 times this way, and then 12 twice the other way. 12 times 12 is 144. Control your clock. There's really 81 vibrations, but you can call them 72. But if you really want to get functional, you go into the 64. The 64 convolutions of space that the brain interacts with, projects and receives. And then what you call time or matter, you have 8 over here. 8 plus 64 is the 72 that Solomon's talking about. In my father's house are many mansions. But if y'all don't read, I'm speaking gibberish. But y'all don't read. So who am I talking to? Me. I'm talking to me. You're welcome. Peace and love. Adios.